Hello, my fellow gladiators, spectators, and warriors, and welcome to one of the concluding episodes of this bulk on this series. This week, it appears that we are weighing in at 98.1 kilograms, a small increase from last week, rounding up this bulk perfectly. Let's see what we get into in this episode of Resurrecting Hercules.
Alright, the way I want to open up this episode is talking about bench, because this is pretty much the biggest factor that I've been focusing on for the last year, is trying to get back to doing barbell bench. And the reason I haven't been able to do it is because my shoulders are internally rotated, which causes an impingement when I do benching. So I'm going to show you a few different sets of what my bench is looking like and kind of give you my mind process as I'm going through the sets, because I'm going through physical therapy, I'm learning new movements, I'm trying to put them into play, but it doesn't necessarily come automatic yet. So during these sets, my thought process is changing. So here are the basic thoughts that I think of as I'm setting up for the bench, which is push my heels into the ground so that I can get my body weight moving up into the bench. I'm trying to tuck my hips underneath me by slightly flexing my glutes, as well as sucking and pulling in my lower abs. And you'll see how overextended my arms are at the top of the movement. I first push my shoulders out and then let them fall into place so that I'm in a good proper positioning. Then I start allowing my elbows to come down. To explain the positioning of the shoulder blades during this movement is extremely difficult. It took me so long to understand the concept, even though I already understand how the body moves. It's once your brain starts training a certain way, it's hard to reverse that. So what I'm trying to do is get those bottom points of my shoulder blades to come together so that they're as close as they can possibly be when they're at the bottom of the movement. I'm really packed together into the bench. Now, what I just said right there didn't actually process into my brain when I first heard that. So another thing that I had to start thinking of, the thing that I'm thinking about while I'm doing this is I'm trying to externally rotate my shoulders, and I'm trying to keep my elbows close into the sides. The way I can simulate this without a bench is when you're standing up, having your elbows be slightly in front of the rib cage and then twisting out as far as you can so that your elbows reach as high as they can into the ceiling. So that's what I'm trying to keep in mind. Now let's look at the actual form of what I'm doing here. This is my third set, and I'm not going past 185 right now, just because when I go to 225, it's just slightly too much weight to be able to keep my form tight. So you can see that I feel good right here. You see my elbows are staying nice and narrow, and you can see that I'm externally rotating at the bottom. The trick is, as I start pressing, not to allow my shoulders to go into internal rotation. So you can kind of see that happen a little bit. I'm still working on that. So here's my final set, and I am trying to do 5 sets of something. I'm trying to do 5 sets of 5, but not always am I able to do 5 reps. I'm really thinking about the form more so than anything. So you see that I tried to do a pause rep to see if I could keep tight while I'm at the bottom, and I'm trying to get a little lower right now because my problem is the depth causes my shoulders to pop out of place a little bit. So right here, I'm testing depth and trying to keep externally rotated, and I think this was one of the best sets in terms of how it felt. Now, let's talk about some incline dumbbell press, because you guys haven't seen me do this in years. I put this in here because I'm trying different movements. Now, you see how I'm sitting here for a while with my shoulders just relaxed and I'm holding the dumbbells? This is one of the things that I do before I get into press movement, because it pulls my shoulders into proper position when you just hold heavy weights to your sides without flexing any of your traps or shoulders to keep them in place. Then I try to keep my mind wrapped around how that felt and then move into setup and then start benching. So this is the first time I've done this exercise like in years, so I'm actually figuring it out as we're watching this. As you can see, I'm able to keep my shoulders back and I'm externally rotating, and the way that I'm helping myself do this is by twisting the dumbbells so that they are parallel to my body when they come to the bottom, and having my hands twisted in this direction while bringing my elbows down makes it a lot easier to keep myself externally rotated rather than having the dumbbells crossed sideways to my body. So after this set, I was able to kind of think about what I liked and didn't like about the first set and then kind of adjust accordingly, as well as having this video clip helped so much. So now you'll notice that at the top of the range of motion, my hands are actually much more aligned with my shoulders. They're almost right over my shoulder joints, where in the first set, my hands were actually forward to my shoulder joints, which causes impingement because I'm kind of doing a front raise while also pressing. That's not good, and it doesn't keep my shoulder blades in good position. So by having it a camera, I was actually able to tie in what I thought I was feeling as well as what was actually happening, and immediately make a choice that made the set a lot better.
So just got back from an early morning grocery trip. One thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to increase the amount of fruits and whole foods that I'm eating, specifically fruits, because it's adding like a ton of extra calories. It gets me hydrated because I get some water from that, but really it's just an easy way to slam some extra calories in addition to the stuff that I'm already regularly eating. So some of the go-tos for me are like these baby watermelons. The baby ones seem sweeter to me than the big ones. I'm still not an expert at choosing them. Like for example, this one's like pliable. Not sure if it should be pliable. Still perfecting that. But when I get in a bunch of coconut waters, it's a good way to start my morning, get some calories in. Potassium, water. Got some bell peppers because I just like them a lot. Haven't had them for a while. And here I got some kiwi. If you can see it down there. Got like 3 or 4 kiwis. And then this is a drink that I've been drinking a lot lately. So it's just some chia seeds at the bottom there. And then whatever juice I have, I just pour it in there. Mix the chia seeds and the juice up. Put it in the fridge overnight. And then this makes, I don't even know how to really explain it. It's like this weird, these things kind of get like jelly and stuff, but they have high amount of protein, really good fats in there. It's just an easy drink on the side to whatever I'm already eating to add an extra, this is like 250 calories plus the chia seeds. This is probably an extra like 500 to 800 calories depending on how many seeds I use. The name of the game for these last 2 weeks of the bulk is just to get as many calories in as quickly as possible. Find as many tricks and different ways that I can get calories in without having to spend too much time. Because that's my struggle, is making the time in between working and all the different things that I do in the day to like prepare food and to eat food, but still get all that work done in the day.
So here's some clips of me working on my squat with my physical therapist, and I'm going to try and apply these concepts that I'm learning into my own squats you'll see later.
Okay, good. I'd like to finish at the top. A little more abs, a little more rotations, and that's it. Come on. Yes, you rack it.
I know.
Yeah, it's a little rack.
A little narrow.
All right. Just a little bit. That's it, right there. Ribs down, ribs down. That, right there. Go.
Is this not too much of a curve in my thoracic?
Nope.
Really?
No, I'm telling you, it's great.
Feels like it.
It feels extreme because you're not used to it.
Well, I didn't know I was supposed to
Go.
drive with my knees. Are we done?
Yes.
You're done. Yep, over here.
Straighten the knees just a little bit, by just hips, do a little bit more. That. Just a little, that's it, right there, brother, go. Okay, you shift it back, that's okay. Control it down. I don't want you to jet down, I don't want you to drop down, I want you to control the weight down.
Okay.
A little bit more abs in at the start. That's it, but that finishes. Great. See how I'm nice, nothing up here changes, right? It's just here, okay? From here, I'm gonna stay more big toes down. Squat, okay? Stay forward, stay forward, stay forward. I shift it back a little bit, so what I'm gonna do is here, and see how I nudge underneath at the bottom? Super slight. And even there, I kind of stop back. I'm still there, right there. And again, it's gonna be, I want you to break at the knees first and then send your hips back. Up. Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Is it clicking?
It's really driving the hips forward.
Yes.
All right, so the number one thing that's difficult for me in a squat is keeping my hips tucked underneath me. And this is what a lot of people do when they squat, is they just do that big butt stance where they have their lower back kinked. It's called lordosis, and it's when you have a hugely anterior pelvic tilt, meaning your hips are tilted forward throughout the entire movement, even when you come to the top. Over time, since I began lifting, I started to do more of an anterior pelvic tilt throughout the entire movement, which is what a lot of people do, and it causes a lot of bad problems with your lower back. So now I'm trying to be able to go throughout the whole movement without kinking back into that position, because it's always so much easier to use that position than to actually activate all your muscles to keep tight. So I'm trying to keep tight while I'm doing it. You can see I'm moving a little bit, my balance is a little bit off because all of this is odd to me. I'm still getting used to this. But with 225, I'm able to get it for like 3 or 4 reps-ish while keeping it tight, but I'm not quite there yet. And so I'm gonna keep using 225 until it is easy to keep all 5 sets tight. I'd like to also point out that I am stopping above parallel on some of these reps because I am trying to keep tight. So if I'm losing tightness at a certain range of motion, that's where I stop right before, and then I work on that slowly. Remember not to lift to impress or fulfill other people's ideas of what you need to be doing in your forms. I'm feeling stoked about the plan right now. We have 1 week left of bulking, and then I'm gonna go and start my cut, and that will be the first episode of the dieting or cutting series. So next week's episode will be the summation of my last week, as well as a detailed breakdown of my physique compared from the beginning to the end, as well as just what I think has improved and what I think I want to improve on, as well as my plans and goals during the cut and what I plan to get done during that. All that said to say that this bulk is coming to an end, which isn't a very long end. It's only going to be about 4 to 8 weeks of cutting, probably on the lower end of that, and then we're going to go right back into bulking. The idea is just to, I guess, just kind of do a upkeeping session on my body, try to drop a little bit of body fat, keep the muscle looking good, and just kind of change the ratio of body fat to muscle that I have. in my weight. I feel extremely confident about it. I also feel like it is definitely overdue. It's time to do this. Even though I still want to gain more weight, I think that it is a smart choice to break it up for my own mental stability, to be able to like go from bulking to cutting and get that discipline put back in there, so that when I go back to bulking, I'm used to tracking and eating more cleanly and things like that. But also just like a motivation thing. When I get a little bit of body fat off of me, I feel 10 times larger. It makes me feel like I'm connected better with my muscles. My workouts are more intense, and it just brings like a new spirit to me. So I don't know if this is something that maybe applies to you too. Maybe it's time for you to also try, you know, a switch over to a diet real quick. But I just want to let you guys know what's going on. I feel awesome this week about how my body is looking. I feel great about how the bulk has gone, and I'm pumped to get into this phase with you guys. So once again, as always, thank you guys so much for checking out these Hercules series and all the videos on my channel. I love showing you guys my progress, showing you what I'm learning on a day-to-day basis in my life, and I appreciate that you guys support and really like give me feedback on what you think is awesome or what you don't really like about the videos. That is so awesome. I really appreciate it. You guys have not heard about my podcast, you can check out my podcast. I really urge you to do so. brianspodcast.com. If you haven't checked out my second channel, I'm covering a lot of entrepreneurialism, how to make money on your own at home, as well as like cryptocurrencies and bitcoins and stuff like that. Check it out. I got a second channel. Hopefully I have some really awesome things to tell you in the next episode of Resurrecting Hercules.